Great. So I'm going to talk about lean digital marketing, or maybe better said, how to save some money on digital marketing. But before we begin, let me ask you a question. What's the price of microwave oven General Electric's Profile Pentium 120? I'll be easy with you. What do you think the price at Sears is currently? It's around $900. What about Best Buy? Lower, higher? Best Buy price $810. And what about Amazon? Amazon has currently priced this model at 870 euros, or dollars, sorry. Why currently? Because Amazon is actually using dynamic pricing, which changes prices for specific models or specific products around 9 times per day, versus Sears, which changes product prices 0 times per day, and Best Buy 2 times per day. How can they do that? Amazon actually gathers lots of data from users, their behavior, and actually use this data to increase conversion and maximize their revenue and profit. And consumer behavior has changed, and now you're going, oh my God, not again. We heard that for the last 5, maybe 10 years. But maybe in the past year or 2, we really noticed the fundamental change, especially on mobile devices. Yes, I know everybody's talking about mobile for the last few years, but what we are seeing in Europe in 2015, not only the sessions on mobile devices increased for 85%, but the conversion on mobile devices increased for 44%, and the revenue which is generated through mobile devices increased for 160%, which is actually lots of millions of euros spent on mobile devices. And if you're thinking, or maybe your clients are thinking, mobile is not really important yet, they are really on the, I don't know, in the history, living in history. And marketing was never easy. With new digital tools, new digital channels, mobile devices, and stuff like that, it's getting even more complicated. On average, people, 80% of conversion paths will include more than 1 digital channels. That means one conversion path is actually how a specific user goes from the awareness phase through research phase to the purchase phase. And as I said, 80% of these paths will include more than 1 digital channel. Secondly, we are analyzing number of different keywords that will bring users to your website. And in Europe, on general, there are more than 10,000 different keywords which are bringing traffic to the website. So if you're focusing only on 10, 20, or 50 different keywords, you're missing a huge long tail of keywords and traffic. Each buyer is a little bit different. Again, on average, in Europe, we have seen around 3,700 different conversion paths, which means if there's a guy telling you, I know exactly how your users are behaving, he's completely wrong. We can maybe predict 80% of the most obvious conversion paths, but there are so many different specialities in which each user, you should focus and measure every user by itself. And yes, for sure you're saying user behavior has changed, but that's nothing new. We got it. We understand it. But if that would be true, why we suck so much on digital? Our success rate is only 15%. Only 50% of all website visitors will start a checkout process, not buy a product, will put a product in a basket on your website. And even worse, only 11% of those visitors will actually finish the checkout process and buy a product. So yes, 99% of all visitors on your websites are not converting at the time, and 90%, almost 90% of visitors will abandon carts on your website. And if this would be going on in a offline retail store, I think manager would go mad. So only one of the 10 people standing in line in front of the cashier will buy a product at the end. I think everybody would get fired. But on digital, we do nothing about it, or almost nothing. If we want to increase our success rate, we need to understand the consumers. We need to know which are the most important moments and where should we catch the users. To do that, we need first to establish the metrics. We need to gather the data, then track the consumer decision journey, and actually pay attention to micro and macro conversions. So we are using this model of consumer decision journey. It doesn't really matter if it's considered valid by experience or bond, or if you call these different phases totally with different names, like say, awareness, research, and purchase. What matters is that user needs are changing throughout the consumer decision journey. So they start on one digital channel with a specific need, and when they move down the consumer decision journey, their needs will change, and you need to adapt to this. Why we need to measure all the micro conversions? Because we need to see the transactions between different channels and between different stages of consumer decision journey. We need to see how, on average, how many of interactions between brand and consumer are needed to successfully convince a consumer to buy with it. And we need to understand what's the length of the consumer decision journey. In this case, this is a case of the largest Slovenian e-commerce website, and it's the obvious thing that we are measuring the macro conversion add to a basket or purchase of a product, but we are also measuring register a user, sign up for newsletter, then ratings for the product, add to a wish list, compare a product with different products, and even further reviews from different users, check the stock. We have a wizard to help you select the TV set, social actions, and also we are measuring if a user did read any article on our content hub which is related to this specific product. Based on this, we can develop a micro and macro conversions metrics. So we map these micro conversions on the consumer decision journey, from the see/awareness phase to think/research phase to do/purchase phase. Long, mid, and short-term business effects. So all the social actions, new followers on social channels, social actions like, share, comment, will bring long-term business effect. Then we have info requested, catalogs downloaded, galleries browsed, videos watched, email sign up, maybe new user registered and stuff like that, will bring a mid-term business effect. And reviews and ratings, add to basket, and a purchase will actually bring immediate business effect. Of course, we need to adopt the metrics based on that as well. So if we would be measuring only revenue, conversion rate, and profit through all of the consumer decision journey, majority of our campaigns, majority of digital channels won't be performing well. So if your channel or campaign is focused on increasing the revenue or increasing the number of purchases, yes, you should be measuring revenue and profit. But when you go more up to the top of the funnel, you should be measuring different stuff. In awareness phase, you should be measuring reach and frequency, increase in brand search, percentage of new visitors that you are attracting to your website, number of mentions on social, and stuff like that. In the research phase, you should be measuring number of leads, engagement on your website, page depth, assisted conversions, and click-through rates. And this is a case of another website that we actually optimized just to tell you that it's really working. It's the sports retailer from Croatia, and with no additional budget, just optimizing budget based on the consumer decision journey, we were able to increase the conversion rate by 135%. The bounce rate on website, it's only 26%, and each visitor will view around 14 different pages in one visit. Overall transactions increased for almost 50%. So it's really working. Okay, why are we doing this? What are the benefits? First of all, we will better understand the user behavior and better understand our users. Based on that, we'll be able to target our users throughout the consumer decision journey. And this will lead to better performance of our digital marketing, and at the end to better ROI, more money, more profit, and everybody's happy. So now we have all the metrics set up, so we are gathering data, but to take any action we need to get insights. First of all, aggregated data like cost per acquisition, conversion rate, and stuff like that, it's a lot of crap. It doesn't say a lot. You need to focus on 3 different segments: acquisition, behavior, and outcomes. In acquisition, you should be asking yourself which channels are driving traffic to my website. Secondly, in behavior, you should be asking yourself how are users behaving? And in outcomes, you should be asking yourself what influences conversions. So let's deep dive into these 3 segments. First of all, when we analyzed the e-commerce trends in 2015, for 2015 in Europe, what we saw on average is that almost 40% of all income is generated through organic traffic to your website. 30% will come from paid advertising. Of course, it depends on the budget you are spending on paid advertising. Around 12% comes for referral, 10 or 11% from direct, and 6% from email. Social, it's around 1.5%, and display quite similar. But if you sum it up for the top 4, you will see that they will bring around 90% of all income. So why should we ever bother with social, display, and email? Actually, that's not true. Yes, majority of last click conversions will be made via branded traffic, direct hits, and stuff like that. But social channels, not branded traffic, display advertising, and similar channels will play a crucial role as assisted conversions. And if we remove this kind of traffic to your website, you're not putting any new users to your top of the funnel, and in a month or 2, your bottom line will be hurt a lot. So more than 60% of conversion paths will include non-branded visits to your website. Because we established in the previous phase the micro and macro conversion metrics, we can now create a really detailed report in Google Analytics, which we call outcomes report. So you see on the left side in the columns you have micro conversions from the start of the consumer decision journey on the left to the right, which is the purchase. So it's in Slovene, I'm sorry, but it goes from user read an article on our content blog, and on the right you have a purchase, and this is segmented by the full channel grouping, and it shows you quite effectively which channels are best in which phase of consumer decision journey. And even further, you can switch this to conversion rates and see the conversion rate on micro conversion goals for each digital channel or channel grouping for each phase of the consumer decision journey. Based on that, you can easily optimize which channels are you going to use in each phase of consumer decision journey, and what are you focusing your communication on in this specific channel. moving to behavior, how are users actually behaving? We see on general that more than 50% of visitors will come to your website more than once before they purchase. 40% more than 5 times. Yes, 1/3 of the transactions will happen within a day, but these are still informed decisions, and 40% of purchase cycles last more than 7 days. And if you're selling something online, you should be really using enhanced e-commerce, because it enables you to see your performance even more in more detail, and you can add custom dimension and custom metrics to your data, like weather tracking, cost of goods sold, I don't know, color of a car that you're selling, and stuff like that. On the content side, if you create a lot of content, you should really be measuring how good is your content. This is the case from our own blog, which we are rewriting at the company, and we are tracking how many users actually read, the percentage of users which read the entire blog post till the end. And we see on average there is around 56% of users will read the entire blog post. And we see that number 5 and number 6 are below the average, and then we can analyze why is that so and actually optimize the content. Moving to outcomes, what actually influences conversions? The usual stuff, of course. We know that returning visitors will convert twice as much as the new visitors, and even better, branded visits have 2.5 times higher conversion rate than non-branded visits. But then we go to the more interesting stuff. You can actually track how a specific ad on which user clicked is influencing your conversion rate. And if you notice that a specific ad is actually increasing your conversion a lot, you should be actually pushing this specific ad to users, because it's actually convincing them to convert. Similar, you can do with different channels, and you can see which combination of digital channels throughout the consumer decision journey will bring the highest conversion on your website. I mentioned a few minutes ago that you can track weather conditions through custom dimensions and custom metrics, and with the largest e-commerce website that we are working on, we actually are using this data to optimize our digital marketing campaigns. So every time a user will visit a website, we will track by IP. We'll track his location and then see what are the weather conditions and the outside temperature currently at that location, and we'll save this data into Google Analytics. Then we can analyze this data and correlate it to a specific increase in conversion rate or number of purchases in a specific category. So let's say if it's a sunny weather outside between 20 and 25 degrees, we know that the sale of bikes will go up. And let's say for 1% conversion rate. Okay, great. And now when we know this, and we know that the weather forecast for this weekend says that it's going to be sunny, 22 degrees, we know that the conversion rate will go up, and we will increase the budget for this specific product category to maximize our revenue and our profits. Okay, why and how is this going to help us? When we analyze the acquisition phase, we know how to optimize digital marketing. With behavior, we know how to optimize the user behavior, and with outcomes, we know how to target our users better. And then we move to the content side. What if the user is not ready to buy? As I said at the beginning, 99% of your users are not buying currently on your website. This is not because they are not interested in your product, but they are not ready to buy. So how good are we at creating content which actually is not targeted to specific purchase phase? If your bounce rate on your landing page is larger or higher than 50%, then your content sucks. I'm sorry about that. You should be paying attention to 3 different stages or types of the content. C phase, when you should explain why your brand is good for a user, why are you doing what you are doing, how are your products going to help the user. Then in the think/research phase, explain how your products will actually benefit the user, what are they getting out of it, and in do phase, what are they actually buying. And we are usually forgetting about the see and think phase. We have this travel agency OSKAR here in Slovenia, and they increased the number of content they are generating a lot, so covering the whole consumer decision journey. And based on that, they increased the organic traffic to their website by 33%. The number of transactions increased for 42%, and income from long tail increased for 55%. Only by adding additional content which supports or solves the user need in all stages of consumer decision journey. And not only that you're selling more, by creating content you are helping consumers throughout the consumer decision journey, and this will build your brand reputation. And at the end, of course, you should adapt the marketing as well. Again, based on the consumer decision journey, you should know all touch points or discover all touch points between brand and user. And for each of these touch points, we are using 8 different things, or measuring 8 different things. We call it digital marketing framework. And for each touch point, we are asking ourselves, what's the target group for us? What are our business goals? What are user needs that we are trying to solve? What is the message that user will respond to? Which digital channels should we be using to reach the users and the target group? What targeting should we use on those digital channels? What are the KPIs for this phase of the consumer decision journey that we should be measuring our success on? And at the end, what content should we offer to the user, and which content is going to solve the user need in this stage? But the ultimate goal at the end is, of course, to increase or decrease, the cost per acquisition or cost per action. And because we are running short on time, just skip to the results. These are the year-on-year results for our top clients. I'm not trying to sell anything, but I'm just trying to convince you that this approach is actually working. As you see, the number of sessions did not increase a lot, only 70%. But because we did adopt or change our marketing approach, the revenue increased for 160%, the conversion rate almost 100%, per session value 120%, transactions 130%, and we also increased a little average order value, and at the same time cost per transaction dropped almost 50%. Okay, to sum it up, 3 key points that you should be focusing on. First, marketing, be there for the user, know how the user consumer decision journey looks like, know the touch points, and don't just be there, solve their needs. Secondly, be useful with your content, more than just show up. Actually, you need to help users with their needs. And at the end, measure everything, because you won't be able to tell if you're doing it okay or bad if you're not measuring it. And that's it from my side. I think we have some questions, I hope.
Thanks a million for that, Andraž. There's quite a few questions in the chat that I won't get to touch on, so if you want to jump on them later, that'd be fantastic. One I very quickly did want to throw at you. You can see there the fantastic results you've achieved, and using that type of a process will work for, I'd say, everybody across the board. The fundamental building block for it all is better understanding our user behaviors and understanding their intent. So if someone reaches friction there, if they're not getting buy-in from a client, and that could easily be an in-house manager, have you any tips there on how to overcome that and get buy-in for that approach?
I think that data and measuring the consumer journey is necessary if you're going to be successful in digital marketing these days, because the old approaches of just focusing on clicks and displays of the ad and or maybe on SEO is not actually buying anymore. You need to understand the consumers, and you need to convince your clients that you are working on their behalf for their success, and they should be sharing as much as data and information with you as they can.
And certainly the results tend to follow when they do. Thanks a million for that, Andraž. Now, before we move on to our next speaker, we're going to quickly share a little video with you all, so please do enjoy this video.
SpyFu highlights new opportunities for search marketers by revealing the advertising secret formula of their most successful competitors. Simply go to spyfu.com and type in the domain of a competitor of yours. You can see all the keywords that they buy on Google, which ones they rank on organically, and how their campaigns have evolved since 2007. Discover how focused they are on SEO and even how much we estimate they're spending in AdWords. You can also type in any keyword and see who's buying it, ranking on it organically, and dig into similar profitable keywords. As you dive further into SpyFu, you can see trends in ad copy, look up past advertisers in a niche, create client reports, see keyword groups, and find backlink ideas. We have extensive tutorial content, an in-house support team, and even a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can do all of this research risk-free. Join the millions of people who have already used SpyFu and gain an edge on the competition.